he doesn't remember ever hearing it. Not as a child, not growing up, not in the moments when he needed it. I love you. I love you. Welcome to Echoes of the Mind Vault, where hidden pain finds a voice, silent battles are revealed, and the whispers of the soul meet the truth of God. This is more than a channel. It's a journey into healing, identity, and dare I say, divine encounter. I love you. I love you. For some people, those words are ordinary, said casually, repeated often, almost taken for granted. But for him, they were missing completely. And when something that important is missing, you don't just notice it, you become shaped by it. He learned early on that emotions weren't something you talked about. They were something you buried, ignored, put down until you stopped asking to be felt. So he adapted quietly, without anyone realizing it. He became strong, independent, self-reliant, not because he wanted to be, but because he had to be. Because when no one teaches you what love sounds like, you stop expecting to hear it. But the absence of those words does something deeper than silence. It creates questions. Questions that follow you into adulthood. Questions that don't always have clear answers. Am I loved? Is there something wrong with me? Why was it so easy for others but not for me? And those questions, they don't just stay in your mind, they settle into your identity. So he grew up trying to prove something he couldn't explain, trying to be enough without ever knowing what enough looked like. He worked hard, he stayed quiet, he avoided being a burden. He became the kind of person who gives and gives and gives, but doesn't know how to receive. Because receiving love requires believing you deserve it. And that belief, he never learned it. People saw him as strong, put together, unshaken. But what they didn't see, what the emptiness was all about, was that behind that was just a facade. The way he struggled to connect, the way he kept people at a distance, not because he didn't care, oh no, but because he didn't know how to let them in. Because when you've never heard I love you, love feels unfamiliar, almost uncomfortable, like something you're not supposed to have. So when people get close, he pulled back. Not intentionally, not maliciously, just instinctively, because vulnerability felt dangerous. Because opening up felt like stepping into something he didn't understand. And deep down, there was still a part of him waiting for someone to say it, to mean it, to stay. But time passed, and those words, well, they never came. Not in the way he needed it, not in the way that healed anything. So he stopped waiting. Or at least he told himself he did. But then one day, in the middle of an ordinary moment, something shifted. Not loudly, not dramatically, but quietly, deeply. It wasn't a voice he heard with his ears. It was something he felt. Something that reached beyond the walls he had built over years. A truth that didn't come from people, but from God. You are loved. Simple, but overwhelming. Because for the first time, it didn't feel conditional. It didn't feel like something he had to earn. It didn't feel temporary. It felt constant, unchanging, real. Scripture says in the book of Jeremiah 31 verse 3, I have loved you with an everlasting love. Everlasting. Not based on performance, not dependent on perfection, just love in its purest form. And for someone who has spent his entire life without hearing those words, it's changed something. Not instantly, not all at once, but slowly it started to break through the walls, the doubts, the questions. Because if God says you are loved, then maybe, just maybe, you don't have to keep proving your worth. Maybe you don't have to keep earning something that was already given. Healing doesn't come overnight. There were still moments of doubt, still moments where the old thoughts returned. Is this real? Do I really deserve this? But the difference now was that he had something to hold on to. A truth stronger than his past. See what great love the Father has lavished on us. Lavished. Not given sparingly, not measured, but poured out. And slowly he started to believe it. He started to understand that the love he never received from people was never meant to define his worth. Because his value was never dependent on human words. It was already written, already declared, already true. You are loved. And maybe you're listening to this right now and you felt that same absence. Maybe those words were missing in your life too. Maybe you've spent years wondering why you've never heard them. Why it felt so easy for others but not for you. And maybe a part of you still aches because of it. That's real. That matters. But here's something you need to hear today. The silence you experience does not define your worth. The absence of those words does not mean you are unlovable. It just means the people around you didn't give what they should have. But God, He never withheld it. His love for you has always been there, even in the silence, even in the confusion, even in the moments you felt the most alone. You were loved. You are loved. And you don't have to earn it. So if you've been waiting to hear those words, if you've been searching for them in people, in validation, in achievements, listen closely. You don't have to wait anymore because they've already been spoken. Not by the world, not by people who may fail you, but by the one who knows you completely. You are loved. Let that sink in, not just in your mind, but in the parts of you that still feel empty. The part that still questions, the part that still doubts. Let it reach those places. Because healing doesn't always come from hearing new words. Sometimes it comes from finally believing the ones that were always true. He spent his whole life waiting to hear it. And when he finally did, it didn't just fill the silence. It changed him. This is Echoes of the Mind Vault, where silence is broken and the words you've been missing finally find you.